When I awoke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last, one that I would remember for the rest of my days. Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! The last two episodes were a bit of a mess. I'm really sorry for that. I got surprised by how long the grand finale of the investigation went. So that's what we actually saw in the last two episodes. The finale of the investigation for the final showdown in Adventures, the first game of Chronicles. And without further ado, let's dive right into the trial. It's the 17th April, 9:32 a.m. at the Old Bailey and the defendant's antechamber. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, her in the fancy dress. If you haven't watched those last two episodes, please do so, because there was a very emotional farewell from Susato-san. But I'm pretty sure, I haven't played the game, this is a blind let's play, but I'm pretty sure she's going to show up at some point. There's no way she's not going to show up. I'm pretty sure, but of course I can't guarantee it. You know, her in the fancy dress. Susato, or however you say it, I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again. One day. Even so, but you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Oh, Waggy! Great way to show your support, Kitty. Let him have a nose around. What I can do. Oh, right, it reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runa? Ginny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? The bad news? Or the weather report? So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes. Alright, Sam. So what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkeys, really. If only all good news cancelled out the bad. And look, this trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbrokers, parishes, and pick-purse plunder. See? How'd you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Bruno will soon show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will? And then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be Discharged diver and dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Bruno? Yes, let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Today's paper has been entered in the court record. Today's paper, this morning's paper purchased by Iris. Gina's case features prominently. Guess we'll have to take a look at that. Good luck then, Runa. I'll do what I can. Alright, so I'm going straight into the court record. Because we also have to... we already checked that out in the last episode. So we're gonna check out the newspaper, of course. So... Pawnbroker perishes in epic plus plunder. Awful for Ginny, I mean. But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Divers Dauntless Do-Getter, right? Yes, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger. Bigger? How? Proud Pickle protects planet post-trial, perhaps? Protects planet? Ooh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's going to be so great. Yeah, that might be the case. So, what about the back? There's a sensational story down the front page as well, look! Ministry mole, classified secrets may have been looked overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old? Iris certainly has a finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted? But how would somebody be doing that? That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Runa? No, of course not. I wonder... Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be. And it could explain why he has Grexy running from pillar to post at the moment. The details of today's paper have been updated in the court record. This morning's paper, which contains an article about government secrets being leaked to foreign agencies. Interesting. So I guess that's all there, because we can't unfold the newspaper, it seems. Okay, so that's that. Alright. Yeah. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris? Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering is all about Shaw's. Did they fix him up all right? Yes, the operation was a great success, but Hurley still hasn't come around yet. I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Right. By the way, I have to make this comment. I'm so sure that Herlock is going to show up in the witness stand. That's going to happen, right? It must. It just must. No, Susato-san, and no, Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime.
Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense, the trial is about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom.
It's time then. Yes, let's go. Gina? Iris? Lead the way, Runa. Alright, there we go, guys. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Alright, so the trial finally starts. 17th April, 10 AM. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zieks. My lord. Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly, and here you are again today. And are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? What one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are 2 types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out. Thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. What? Did he really just say that? He means you now, Runo. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zieks' eyes. Was that directed solely at me? Or was he talking about all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zieks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant?
Former lieutenant on the British Army here, don't you know, chaps like me were born ready.
Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think.
Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything, and I'm ready for it. I don't understand it. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible, but could I have?
Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-concentric future waits. Stop.
We know this guy. This is from the second. This guy's the Russian traitor from the second case. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Is something wrong, Runo?
Oh, not exactly. It's just I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact.
Really? Funny coincidence like that do to happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know.
So I've been led to believe. But something tells me I'm being duped. Very well. Now, Lord Van Zieks, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. The victim, Mr. Pop Windybag, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory.
And what's that supposed to tell us?
It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say.
Oh,
The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord.
indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. The autopsy report has been entered into the court record. The crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record.
I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Windybank, and the accused. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet.
Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say.
Isn't that grumpy little girl a pickpocket anyway?
She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums in the East End.
Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then.
What are the jurors waiting for?
We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive.
My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses.
Good gracious.
After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pick-purse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth.
The court will take the floor plan and firearm to evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zeeks.
At once, my lord. The crime scene floor plan has been entered into the court record. A plan of Windybank's pawnbroker at the scene of the crime. It shows the relative positions of the main shop and the rear storeroom. Windybank's revolver has been entered into the court record. A gun belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious. There are signs of single discharge. This isn't good.
I feel like the mood in here has turned ever gloomy all of a sudden, Runo.
I think that's because it has. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windybank on 16th April of this year. Okay. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. But before we do this, I'm really sorry, we have to take a look at the gun, of course. There must be something about this gun that is important to the case. What might that be? This is Mr. Windybank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty.
Mr. Windybanks always used to keep this gun to hand on his shop counter.
Yes, but I only ever with a single bullet loaded, I understand.
That's right, to keep all the pawned articles that were in his care safe.
But his one bullet was fired that night and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? Okay, so is there something else weird about this gun? Maybe the trigger? No, it doesn't seem like it. What if we do this? Can we... This is Mr. Windybank's gun. Okay, so that's not of any interest. Alright, so sorry guys, but we had to take a look. But if we're here, let's take a look at the sketch. Okay, that's going to get even more important later on. Alright, and let's have a look at the autopsy report. Coroner Dr. Stevens, details of victim. Name Pop Windybank, male, occupation pawnbroker on Baker Street, time of death 16th April, 1 to 1:30 a.m. Reporting party, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, which is us. Post-mortem findings, single bullet wound in upper half of victim's back, no other visible signs of trauma. Autopsy findings, instant death from a anterior bullet wound to the heart. The bullet entered the body from the back on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. That's what Van Zieks already told us. We already had a look at today's paper. Alright.
Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is baddie. Professional baddie.
Name's Ringo Skalkin. Occupation's, same as him.
Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right, we were what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. What are you looking at me like that for? Don't let me in with you lot. Cold blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's a older bruv. Lost contact with him, we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. And then last night, we came across you, the very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo?
He's Nash. The very spit of him.
So we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call you Big Bruv Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two.
Sulky Skulkin? And that's before he's run out of chips. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson.
Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias.
What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Thieves are they, these three?
No, my lord. Begging your pardon, but please don't let me in with this lot.
2 nights ago, those two brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime.
By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence.
Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder.
Order, order!
The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future.
With your lordship permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow.
Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question, and what exactly you saw.
Happy to. 'Cause the Skulkin's never skulking. Get out of it.
Illegal entry.
We was walking down Baker Street in a small house and the gaff store was ajar, say.
It was like some kind of sign begging for us to get in. It was.
But once we got inside our blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room.
We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside.
Well, we never did nothing, governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet. A terrible coincidence it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot.
The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside, and within, only the victim and the accused were found.
I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now. Of course, counsel, if you please. Counsel?
Yes!
What's the matter, Runo?
Sorry, I was just stunned into the silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. The cross-examination. Illegal entry. But guys, I'm sorry, you know this is going to take some time and we almost, not entirely, but almost reached the half-hour mark. So this is going to be it for this episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Tune in next time to see what the cross-examination is going to be. See you then.